Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're going to put on our scholarly hats and explore what is arguably the most profound mystery in human history. We're looking at the true nature of God, and honestly, the fundamental limits of our very own minds. Since the dawn of recorded history, one question has towered above the rest, right? Who or what is God? We're going to really unpack this today, not through the lens of any specific religious dogma, but by looking at the totally fascinating intersection of human cognition, empirical reality, and some of the world's most ancient philosophical texts.
Think about it. For literally thousands of years, civilizations have built massive religions and written libraries of sacred texts, all just to understand the divine. Humanity has relentlessly searched for the Creator. But there's this impossible paradox right at the core of our investigation. Has anyone ever truly seen the complete reality behind the Creator of existence? And I don't just mean religious interpretations or visions, but the full, unfiltered nature of the divine itself. Or are we, as finite beings, fundamentally incapable of perceiving an infinite Creator?
So let's start with Section 1, the paradox of perception.
Let's look at the stark contrast between human cognition and the concept of ultimate reality. Basically, everything we humans understand depends on boundaries. We only grasp the concept of size because things are either big or small, right? We understand time strictly because events have a starting point and a finish line. We understand space because objects occupy a specific location. Our entire mental framework is totally rooted in limitation. But on the flip side, ancient traditions consistently describe the divine nature as having no beginning, no ending, no physical boundaries, and absolutely zero dependence on time or space. It's wild to think about.
And this right here brings us to a huge epistemological problem. How on earth can a brain that evolves strictly to process limited physical stuff, truly grasp something that is, by its very definition, unlimited? Ultimate reality might exist so far beyond the conditions our thoughts rely on that it makes you wonder, perhaps completely understanding ultimate reality was never actually on the table for us in the first place.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 2, the illusion of sight. You know, as humans, we naturally trust our senses. If we can touch it, see it, or measure it, we say, okay, it's real. But science reveals this absolutely extraordinary truth. The visible light we actually see makes up just 0.0035% of the electromagnetic spectrum. That is practically nothing. Just consider the invisible realities constantly surrounding us right now. We're talking infrared radiation, ultraviolet waves, massive electromagnetic fields, and billions, literally billions of microscopic life forms. Entire physical realities exist right in front of our faces, completely unseen by the naked human eye.
So, here is the crucial takeaway. If we only perceive these tiny fragmented slivers of our own physical reality, just try to imagine how much of ultimate reality lies entirely beyond our ordinary perception. I mean, if we are completely blind to so much of the physical world, how could human senses ever perceive a divine reality that exists beyond physical existence entirely?
Let's explore that further in Section 3, Ancient Wisdom versus Modernity.
Across so many different cultures, ancient sacred writings repeatedly emphasize one thing: humans simply cannot fully comprehend God. Take texts like the mysterious Book of Enoch, for instance. It describes heavenly realms that are incredibly difficult for ordinary minds to even process. Ancient Hebrew teachings shared this exact same thread, noting that divine glory is just too powerful, way too overwhelming for humans to fully perceive. It is a recurring theme across the board. Ultimate reality deeply, deeply exceeds ordinary human understanding. But how does this ancient, overwhelming vision compare to how we define things today?
Well, it actually shows us how ancient people might have understood the fundamental limits of the human condition far better than we do today. Think about it. Ancient civilizations viewed God not just as a powerful creator, but as the very source of consciousness itself, the foundation beneath existence that operates entirely beyond human thought. But today, our modern society relies almost exclusively on empirical proof. We want hard sensory measurement to validate what's real. But if the intelligence behind physical law exists outside of physical law, our modern tools are kind of fundamentally useless for perceiving it, aren't they?
Moving right along to Section 4, the constraints of language.
I want you to think carefully about concepts like creator, father, spirit, king, judge, love, light. We use these terms all the time. But every single word humanity uses to describe the divine, no matter how sacred the tradition, is fundamentally rooted in earthly, human categories.
We really have to remember what human language actually is. It's a system built to describe our specific human experience. It describes physical objects, relationships, emotions, and events that happen strictly inside the bounds of time. But what if God exists beyond every single category language can possibly construct? Ancient philosophers argued that if God truly exists beyond time, space, and matter, then our language can only capture tiny fragmented shadows of something infinitely greater. The words themselves literally become a boundary.
This brings us to Section 5, Beyond Physical Existence.
I absolutely love this analogy. Attempting to grasp infinite reality with finite consciousness is exactly like trying to observe the entire ocean through a single drop of water. It is structurally, physically, and conceptually impossible in our current state. Our human minds simply do not have the hardware, the capacity to hold the entire ocean.
And because of this limitation, ancient spiritual traditions suggested something extraordinary. They proposed that human beings are currently experiencing just a temporary, limited physical existence. To truly see God, they argued, we would require a complete transformation of existence. We'd have to literally exist beyond our physical senses, step completely outside of time itself, and move entirely beyond ordinary human consciousness. So, without shedding our limited human condition, fully perceiving the divine basically remains out of reach.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, the ultimate mystery.
So, what if humanity has spent thousands of years only perceiving fragments? What if the intelligence responsible for time, space, and matter exists so far beyond our imagination that our inability to comprehend it isn't a weakness at all? Actually, scratch that. What if it's simply a reflection of its vastness? The most profound realization we can have through this scholarly lens is that the greatest truth about God isn't found in what humanity can clearly see. Instead, it's found in acknowledging how much remains forever beyond our grasp.
Perhaps the human mind was just never designed to hold the infinite. And maybe, just maybe, discovering exactly how vast and incomprehensible the divine truly is the greatest mystery humanity will ever face. I want to leave you with this final thought to challenge your paradigms today. Do you believe human consciousness can ever truly transcend its physical boundaries to see the full nature of God, or is the divine forever beyond our grasp?